welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead ya?
Who'd have thought they'd lead ya?
Back here where we need ya.
Back here where we need ya.
Yeah, we tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Presents WAWR Week Radio Chats with boxing writer Joseph Herron.
Guys, good evening, everyone. And I hope I sound better because the last 2 days I did a show with my, always surefire SM58. But it looks like I blew that mic. Damn. So I just replaced it with my EV. Hope it sounds a lot better to you guys. Please let me know the feedback. Want to thank you all for joining me. And I tell you what, because this is an evening of WAWR Week Radio Chats, and we have a lot to discuss, I'm going to throw the link to the show on the comment boards. Anyone who wants to join me, please come up and join me. Right? I have so much to discuss. And obviously, when we do shows with James Gogi, Ronnie Shields, and whichever guest we decide to throw up there on Thursday, obviously I can't discuss all of this, what I'm going to talk about tonight with them, right? This is more of the rumor mill, right? More of the gossip. And guys, tonight we're going to talk about, the latest grievances with Yordenis Ugas, right? We're also going to talk about, go into a bit further. We touched on a little bit on Coach Gogi's show last night, but we're going to delve into it a bit further. Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, both of them making themselves look like a couple of jackasses on live TV, looking like a couple of kids, right? Not the multimillionaires that they actually are. Not the prize fighters that they actually are. Getting into a heated pissing match on live TV. Boy. I want to give a shout out to my brother Alex. AJ, what's happening, my brother? Thank you so much for joining us, sir. And you know, it's funny. We're also going to talk about and review the absolutely atrocious undercard on the pay-per-view. That's going to be on November 6th between Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant. Big Luke, there you are, brother. And yes, they are jackasses, man. Thank you for joining us, Big Luke. God bless you, man. Prayers go out to you, my friend. I hope you get a full bill of health very soon. Glad to see you joining us. We're also going to talk about, several things. But first, I'd like to introduce, and Big Luke, if you have a pair of headphones, put it on, brother, so we can get you back, or we can get you live on the air, conversing with all of us. Oh, and there's my brothers. Okay, first, guys, I'd like to introduce my brother in arms here, and it's been a while since I've had one of these chats, so it's good to see you. And this is none other than Brother AJ. Brother AJ, how you doing tonight, brother?
God bless you, Joseph. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you loudly and clearly, my friend. Thank you for joining us. And I tell you what, guys, I can't get into it very much, right? And I'm sure you guys have already heard this through the rumor mill. And it's absolutely true, okay? So please, Big Luke, Brother AJ, and this next gentleman I'm going to introduce at this time. Brother Leonard, welcome back to the show, my friend. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. What's up, Joseph?
Oh, brother, it's much better now that both you guys are on the show. Well, let me just tell you, it's absolutely true. Brother Ronnie, My co-host, and I always have a Tuesday night show with Brother Ronnie Shields. Yes, I can't get into it very much, but yes, he is in the running, and he's currently being interviewed to be a trainer for Anthony Joshua. Okay?
Get out of here.
So please keep him in your prayers, and we'll discuss it a little bit. Now, I can't really talk about it or get into it, but yes, excuse me, they were at his gym this afternoon, right? And I can't discuss it. I can't really get into it, but please keep Coach Ronnie in your prayers because this would be huge for him, right? Because, and once again, he has that heavyweight experience. And if you don't realize it, guys, it's like night and day when you're training heavyweights and training any kind of underweight fighter, right? It's a totally different ball of wax, right? These guys are very different heavyweights. They require a different set of attention, right? So Coach Ronnie has that experience at the elite level, training David Tua, training Evander Holyfield, training Mike Tyson, right? Training Efe Ajagba most recently. So, yeah, just keep him in your prayers because this is a big one. This is a big one for him.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, Lennar.
Okay. I would say that's very interesting because, what all those guys are big punchers. So I'm sure he's used to Ronnie Shields, when he does the mitts, I'm sure he's used to feeling that heavyweight power. So Joshua hits hard too. So it'd be interesting to see, but what else could he bring to the table for Mr. Joshua?
Well, here's the reason why he's being interviewed currently, right? What do all three of those heavyweights that I mentioned have in common? Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, and David Tua. They're all relentless aggressors. They're not pocket counterpunchers. They don't just like to sit back. Evander Holyfield, well, he does counter well, but he's also a relentless aggressor. Yep. Like David Tua, like Mike Tyson, and that's exactly what Joshua needs. He needs to learn to be the predator, not just the pocket counterpuncher. Hey, brother AJ, do you remember when I was on Lady Shan's show?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when I told everyone how the Usyk AJ fight would play out and everyone thought I was full of shit? Do you remember that?
Yes, you did. I
tried to warn everyone on that show. I'm like, look, guys, Anthony Joshua, he hasn't had to be predator, I think, throughout his since the 4 and 6 round stages. Yep. He's a prolific pocket counterpuncher. He's not used to taking the lead and getting off first. This is going to be a very, a frustrating fight for Anthony Joshua's fans. And I said, what you're going to see is Anthony Joshua and Usyk's right there in the pocket, right in front of him, and they're going to be screaming at the TV, why aren't you letting your hands go? And I explained all of that, and everyone thought I was full of feces.
Usyk is a whole different kettle of fish. I mean, it's like this ain't. I mean, because I applaud Joshua for wanting to take the rematch, but if I'm being honest, guys, I don't like his chances. I really don't. Usyk is not gonna. If anything, he's gonna be even better in the rematch because now he knows how AJ fights because he's been in the ring with him. He was able to take his best shots. And if anything, he's just gonna improve. I mean, because he's not gonna be like Ruiz, where he's gonna blow up to almost 300 pounds and not care. You know what I mean? Like Usyk wants to be undisputed. That's what he said. Yeah, and he's not gonna let Joshua deter him.
Brother Lennar, what do you have to say, brother?
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say this that it's very interesting because people say that if Usyk rematches AJ, that Usyk's gonna know his style and stuff. But I don't think that AJ's gonna have the same style that he did the first fight.
Well, he can't.
He can't.
He needs time, and I don't think he has it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I think.
Yeah. You don't add those new wrinkles to your fight game.
No,
in one camp. You can't do it.
and I've been on record as saying this. I think that if AJ is going to beat Usyk, he's going to have to make it a dogfight. He can't not be scared to get in the trenches because he's not going to outskill him. He's not he tried that.
But with that, but Leonard, well, with that also comes risk because, like, if he's too reckless with Usyk, AJ could gas. We know he's got a poor gas tank. His stamina could be shot, and he'll just be playing into Usyk's hands. And Usyk probably knows this already. He's very smart. You know what I mean? He realizes that now that AJ, he can outbox AJ, so Usyk, his IQ was off the chart, so he's going to be like, he's probably already thinking this. I mean, I'm sure he probably already knows this. AJ's probably just going to take the fight to me in the rematch, so I got to prepare for that too.
Yeah, well, one thing that AJ does have going for him, he's an athletic specimen.
Yeah.
So he's going to be able to pick these things up a lot quicker than someone who isn't, right? I want to give a shout out to my brother, Mike from Boston. Thank you so much for tuning in, sir. And Coach Ronnie and I were talking about this, and I'm sure you remember this, Brother AJ, that you remember when Lady Shannon and I brought up the idea and said he would be absolutely perfect for Anthony Joshua. Who? And he said, and Coach Ronnie said, well, one, we would have to start on the fundamentals in learning how to cut off the ring and close the distance effectively. 2, he would have to fight behind a more intelligent jab. And 3, most importantly, he would have to learn how to get off first. He's not of that mindset. He's got to change the culture, change the mindset. But guys, it can be done.
Yeah.
From a teacher, from a coach who can teach those kind of fundamentals, it can be done. And guys, I point to my brother Sugar Hill, my brother Javen. He took over those same training duties after the first fight with Deontay Wilder and was able to change the culture and the mindset of Tyson Fury. And one of the reasons why Tyson Fury was able to do it was because, 1, he's deceptively athletic, and 2, he's really smart. AJ has those same qualities, and he's a humble enough guy to learn.
Yeah.
So do not count him out. All I can say is please keep Coach Ronnie in your prayers, and he's going to expound on it a little bit more on tomorrow night's show, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, guys.
Because Joseph, I don't know if you noticed, he was also seen in Canelo's gym. You seen that video?
I saw that, but once again, Eddie Reynoso doesn't teach that.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm thinking, like, I don't know if Reynoso's, because I don't know what Reynoso could do for John. I like Roddy Shields. This is a much better choice, and I hope he, but I'm gonna keep him in my prayers, like you said. But yeah, so.
What about?
Well, go ahead, Lenar.
I would say it's so interesting because all these, it seems like everybody's switching trainers and dropping trainers. We also have Marcus Brown now training with Derek James for his upcoming Artur Beterbiev fight. So that's interesting.
Oh boy.
Well, I tell you what, unless you can age Artur Beterbiev 10 years overnight, it's going to be that's a much tougher assignment physically.
I'm sorry, I like Marcus Brown, but I'm not giving him a chance.
No, unfortunately, I'll be very surprised if it goes 6 rounds, guys.
Me too.
I give him a chance. I think that Marcus Brown is going to have to play it smart. I think that he's a little bit faster and more athletic. So I mean, if he stays on the outside and tries to outbox him, he has a chance. But then Artur Beterbiev is going to cut off the ring. So
that's right.
It's going to be interesting to see if he's able to block.
Look. He's the biggest puncher. Yeah, sorry, he's the biggest. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
When you're fighting Artur Beterbiev, you could make the ring 100 by 100 feet, and he'll still be right in your grill. Okay, that's the way it is. But guys, before we move forward to our first topic, right? Mike from Boston says it's very difficult to replicate a guy like Usyk's style. His rhythm is impossible to time. Exactly. That's why you don't wait as a counterpuncher on a guy like Usyk. His movement is going to disrupt your timing and rhythm. So you have to get off first. You can't wait on him. That's it. Big Luke says, prayers for Coach. Thank you, Big Luke. God bless you, brother. The Holy Trinity is with him. W. Riles, too little, too late for AJ. Damaged fruit.
Oh.
Well, we'll see, brother. And you may be right, W. Riles, because he obviously hasn't been the same. since getting knocked out by Andy Ruiz Jr.
I agree.
Right? He hasn't been the same.
Ever since then, he's been very tentative.
If anyone can actually put Humpty Dumpty back together mentally, it's Coach Ronnie Shields, right? He has that experience, and he's learned from the best, Georgie Benton and Emmanuel Stewart. Those two guys were the very best at getting the most out of their heavyweights. And Ronnie Shields is a student of both of them, right? W. Riles also says Marcus Brown is a wife beater. Holy cow, we're not going to get into that, brother.
Yeah.
Whoa. No. That's a different topic.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to say that a prize fighter is not of solid moral character? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, the Warriors.
But God bless you, brother. Thank you for joining the show. Like the first topic, guys, we're going to go over is Yordenis Ugas's public grievance with the WBA. Now, keep in mind, this is the same sanctioning organization that stripped Manny Pacquiao of his Super WBA welterweight title and phoned it in. He sent email. They was rewarded it via email, right? He didn't have to beat anyone to get it. He didn't have to beat anyone to earn this distinction. He was given this to him by the WBA, Yordenis Ugas, right? And now he's complaining to them, right? Okay, so I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna get your thoughts on all of this, guys, right? So I'm gonna read this, and guys, keep in mind, I used to do publicist work for a lot of fighters, right? Keep in mind, this is directly from, I guarantee it because I know this gentleman. This is a message directly from Louis DeCubas Jr., his manager, right? I know Louis. He's a great guy, and this sounds exactly like Louis, right? So I'm going to read this. He says, quote, "It is disrespectful for the WBA to have a tournament to define their champion when I'm the super champion. I just beat a legend, and I have a victory over regular champion Jamal James. WBA mandatory fights are always to fight for the regular title." You're wrong. Okay, keep going. "I fought Abel and got promoted when Pacquiao was out of the sport. I have 3 questions for the WBA. With everything and the reduction of the title that the WBA has, what super champion has a mandatory fight imposed? Even though he's on his way to a 3-division or 3 championship unification with Errol Spence, which super champion in history has had a mandatory fight for the WBA Super?" End quote. All right, before I go any further, brother, what are your thoughts, brother? Oh, well, who wants to go first? Lenar, you wanted to talk about this, right?
Yeah, this is something that
okay. Well, I'll let you have your go first before we get brother AJ's comments, right?
No, Leonard, you can go. Go ahead, man.
Okay, thank you. Now, this is something I really want to talk about on this show right here. Okay, so, Joseph, I have to take a stand against you and make an address here. I'm actually not upset at the way that Yordenis Ugas is acting, because at the end of the day, he's talking about unification. And I cannot get mad at a man who wants to fight the best and he wants to fight and unify, because at the end of the day, this may be a little selfish, but I do want to see unification. And I understand that I do also want to see the WBA get rid of the belts, and because I understand it waters down the divisions. I agree with that. But in this particular case, I'm with Ugas. I stand with Ugas on this one, because at the end of the day as well, what other WBA champion has to go through a tournament, a 4-man tournament? I don't think any other WBA champion in boxing right now is going through that. So he does have a point. What he's saying is a little bit of unjust. I mean, Yordenis Ugas, he's fought the big names now. He's fought Sean Porter. He's fought Manny Pacquiao. He's become a champion. Regardless of how you feel about it, he did beat the man who had the belt. So to me, he earned it. So how can I get mad at a man who wants to unify the division?
Point taken, brother. Point taken. Now, brother AJ, your comments on this?
Yeah, Leonard, I agree. It's like we may not have like how Ugas got the championship. Like he may have been emailed or just they sent a letter and upgraded him or whatever. But he's the champion nonetheless. He's the super champ. And I didn't like it. I certainly voiced my displeasure over the whole situation. I just stripped Pacquiao, more or less gave his title to Ugas. That's pretty much what he did in a nutshell. But it is what it is. He's the super champ. He beat Pacquiao fair and square in their fight, and he should want to unify. And and honestly, the WBA, it's like I'm kind of been really annoyed with them because they don't have. A perfect example of this is Leo Santa Cruz hasn't defended his featherweight belt for the WBA in like almost 3 years, and he still somehow has the title. So how do you justify letting him keep it and he hasn't made a defense, but you strip Pacquiao for an activity? Make that make sense, please.
but I mean, exactly. I mean, what I mean.
Wait, 1 second. Let me add something else. And Keith Thurman nearly had his title for 2 years, and you didn't take it away from him. And you didn't take it away from him. So make that make sense, please. Hello. Can somebody answer that?
And there you have it. Look, guys. First of all, you have to understand, and he's wrong when he says the mandatories are for the regular WBA champions. That's not correct. Look, the reason why the Super WBA distinction came into being, and that was meant for multi-titleists, right? Guys who had the IBF, the WBO, the WBC, right? And the WBA also. Guys like Andre Ward, guys like Vladimir Klitschko, right? Those guys. And the reason why they made a special distinction for it, because there wasn't enough time to meet their mandatory requirements, right? So basically in the bylaws, according to the WBA, they're given not just 12 months, they're given 16 months. That's all that distinction means. That doesn't mean that you're completely given a pass to mandatories. That's where I take great exception to this. And he's not a multi-sanctioning organization titleist like the aforementioned fighters that I mentioned, right? That I talked about. He's not Andre Ward. He doesn't have 3 titles. He's not Vladimir Klitschko. He doesn't have 3 titles, right? So I'm sorry, he's not immune to defending his title, right? And while Errol Spence is still on the shelf, and he hasn't even, as far as I know, he hasn't even been cleared for sparring yet. Okay? Yeah. So hold on. Once again, he's on the shelf. And Terrence Crawford is going to be busy with Sean Porter, right? So in the interim, you mean to tell me he's taking exception to having defend his title? A title that he was given? Now, I understand he beat Manny Pacquiao, right? So he should be. He earned that distinction. You're absolutely right. But why wouldn't you have to defend it? I understand he wants to unify. But against whom? The title holders aren't there right now. And you know what? And on top of that, he is damn lucky he's having to defend it against Stanionis and not Virgil Ortiz Jr. or Jaron Ennis.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so here's the way it goes. Here's the way the tournament, right, conveniently plays out for PBC, right? So in one bracket, you've got Yordenis Ugas defending his title against Imantes Stanionis, right? And then the other bracket, you've got Jamal James defending his title against Radzab Butayev. And when you look at the welterweight rankings in the WBA, Stanionis is a number 1 contender. Number 2 is Ortiz Jr. Where is he in this bracket? Okay. Then you've got Abel Ramos. Okay, who Yordenis Ugas has already beaten. Then you've got Butayev, who's going to be fighting against Jamal James. But then you've got Jaron Ennis at number 5. Why not put him in there if Virgil Ortiz is not there, is absent? But what I'm trying to say is, how convenient to leave out Virgil Ortiz Jr. This whole thing is a matter of convenience, and I guarantee you, is it any coincidence that all 4 fighters currently have a working relationship and are contracted
PBC
with Al Heyman and PBC?
So Joseph, can you before I give a response to that? Can I ask you a question? Did you say that the WBA allows up to 16 months before you get stripped of a title that you have to defend it? Is that what you said?
Yes, you
Okay.
don't have to fight your mandatory for 16 months. That's
Okay.
right.
Okay. So let me give my response then. Again, Joseph, I have to disagree. You say Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford is busy. I give you that, but Earl Spence has actually been in the gym for weeks now. People don't know that. No,
Okay, no. Once again, I'm going to bring this up, Brother Lenar.
Yeah.
Has he been approved to spar yet?
No. But
no, he hasn't. That's a big if.
What I was going to say.
Hold on. Once again, Lenar, think about this. We have no idea what the timetable is right now. Okay, and the WBC and the IBF, I guarantee you, Suleiman as well as Daryl Peoples, they're currently trying to plan an interim title fight, right? Because they have no idea either how long.
Didn't they say he'd be out they were saying he'd be out a year, didn't he?
Look, no, if he's lucky, if he's lucky. Go ahead, Brother Lenar.
Okay, I know that he has not been cleared to spar yet, but things are looking on the up and up. And Derek James, because I keep up with these fighters on social media, he was recently on the PBC podcast, and he just said that he should be sparring within, I don't know if you've probably heard about it already, but within a month or 2 months. So you can realistically see a unification fight between Spence and Ugas, but around the first quarter of next year. I'm willing to wait that long if it's going to happen like that next. I'm okay with that. But again, if it starts to get to an unreasonable amount of time, then I can understand, like, okay, come on, we got to move the division up. Because at the end of the day, I want to see Undisputed more than anything, like I've already stated. So I'm okay with waiting a little bit of time to see just where Spence is at. Because so far, he's already in the gym, breaking sweats for weeks now. So again, sparring should probably come, I'm guessing, around late November, early December. If things go according to plan and he's able to spar, then I can see realistically, maybe a PBC fight announcement between these two by late December, mid-December, or at the latest January.
Okay, keep in mind, I'll say this. The tournament was announced before PBC got their extension with Fox. Okay, and they all have Fury versus Wilder to thank for that, right? Because as far as I knew, from what I was told, Fox, if this didn't produce either critically or commercially, they were dumping PBC in the trash. So that extension that they just got. Now, keep in mind, this tournament was announced before that extension. Okay, so if the WBA, if they truly believe that a unification is realistic with Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas, of course they're going to allow that to happen. That's much bigger money. That's much bigger money than Yordenis Ugas versus Staniones. Of course they're going to allow it. But once again, these are all hypotheticals. We have no idea if Errol Spence is going to be the same. We have no idea how he's going to look, what he's going to think, what his mentality is going to be in the ring when he gets to spar. He may be baby in that eye. There's no guarantee that he's going to come back within the year. This is a terribly debilitating injury, guys. And I know several fighters who never were the same after this. So these are huge hypotheticals. But the fact that they have Fox dates is a great thing. That's a great sign, right? That, yes, whoever wins Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter more than likely will be the first up to bat for PBC when it comes to Yordenis Ugas unifying the weight division, right? Those are my final thoughts. Brother AJ, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I pretty much you did make a valid point. I agree with you there. If he can't, because Spence is on the shelf, Bud is tied up with Sean. So in the meantime, he could defend his title. But but I also agree with Leonard. He should want to unify, but since these guys are tied up, he should make defend his. He should be obligated to defend his title. Pretty much.
Yep.
That I agree with. And also, just as far as it goes with Spence, Like I think Leonard. I mean, well, thank you for clearing that up, Leonard, because I just was led to believe. I heard like other just rumors on sites that I've been to that like he would be out a year at least. That's what they were saying.
No.
So if he, so they can clear. I mean, so if he's cleared the sparring 2 months, good for him. But but I strongly believe that like I mean, I just got this gut feeling that Spence might be damaged goods.
And that's fair. And that's why I don't see, because these fighters update you on social media consistently.
Right. I really go to social media, so I mean,
that's the thing. If you look, don't run with some YouTube narrative. Just recently, Earl Spence right now is in Dubai, and the reason why I say that's important is because when he first got his injury, he could not fly on a plane because his eyeball would have burst. As stated by Derek James. Oh, and he's actually so he's able to fly planes now on a plane now, so he doesn't have to worry about his eye bursting. So that's what that's why I say that everything is looking good. Again, we do not know. That's why I say that. But so far, everything is looking good with his eye. And I've always been the one to state, with this particular situation, that his eye does not. Even though it was a situation that was serious, it got caught early enough where I do not believe it's that we're really going to have repercussions, serious repercussions.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, excellent conversation, excellent points from all of you guys. I appreciate it. Let's go to the chat room right now. Miss Lisa Bales, thank you so much for joining us, sister. We did provide the link above. If you'd like to join us, feel free. Also, let me see. My brother Snoop, he says this. Snoop C, welcome to the program. He says, Yordenis Ugas versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. Virgil said he's willing. Of course. And once again,
Virgil wants all the smoke.
Of course he does. And, to be honest with you guys, after passing his test against Ugas Kovalevskis with flying colors, I don't see too many fighters at the elite level willing to step in the ring and test their mettle against Virgil Ortiz Jr. unless they absolutely have to. Would you guys?
I agree. It's like one fight I would mind seeing next is Virgil Ortiz and David Avanesian.
Ooh, damn.
Hey,
that's right. That's right. You heard me.
That's a great fight, man. That's a great fight. Leonard, what do you have to say, brother?
I would say about Virgil Ortiz. I actually have, and this might be controversial. When I how you have up and coming fighters and there's certain fighters you say, man, that guy is special. He's special. Oh, he's special. We all have our opinions. I don't think I don't see so much specialness in Virgil Ortiz. I know that's a mic drop. I know he's like, how could you say that? I mean, let's not forget in his last fight before this one against what's the guy's name? Maurice Hooker. Maurice Hooker was beating him until he broke his hand. I really thought he was beating him until he broke his hand. And then even though he did get Ugas Kovalevskis out there, he gets hit a lot.
Yep.
And his head
but Leonard, right quick. I mean, but in the Hooker fight, he did get touched up, but right before Mo injured his hand, Ortiz cracked through and got to him and really hurt him. I think he dropped him heavily in like the 6th round. Then after that, Mo started to come apart at the seams, and I believe had the hand injury not happened, Virgil would have gotten to him because he was starting to break him down, get through. I mean, it's just unfortunate that he broke his hand. But you did make some valid points. He did get touched up in that fight, but then he dealt with
a lot.
But then he dealt with Mean Machine quite easily, actually. In my opinion.
But then who's Mean Machine? I mean, no disrespect to him. But
well, he beat. I'll tell you. He gave Crawford a decent fight. He put him on. He made him take a knee in the 3rd round. He stopped Avanesian 3 years ago, and he's a big, strong welterweight, and he could fight. And for former 2-time Olympian.
Look, and I definitely
credit. Go ahead, Leonard.
I know we have like a good little discourse here. I definitely take amateur experience into account here, but I mean, I cannot give a man who went. I cannot give it participation awards just because he had put up a good fight against Crawford.
Wait a minute, you just did when you brought us Maurice Hooker, brother.
No. I said no. I just give Maurice Hooker. I'm saying that he was, to me, I thought he was beating him until he broke his hand. But yes, Virgil beat him. I'm not saying that Maurice Hooker or won that fight. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that to me, I thought that Maurice Hooker was beating him and up until he broke his hand. So that's why I'm trying to say that I see somebody like a Jerron Ennis as somebody who's much more of a threat. Like if I put If you put Ennis in there with Ortiz, I think Ennis would beat Ortiz convincingly. But again, that's my opinion.
Okay. Well, one thing we do know about young Virgil Ortiz, he's got a good chin. He's got a good pair of whiskers, and he is, well, his offense is his defense, and thus far, no one has been able to stop him. He's 18-0 with 18 knockouts. He fights behind a very intelligent jab, and he's got a sledgehammer of a right hand. Guys, at this moment, I'd like to introduce our sister, the Queen, Miss Lisa Bales. Welcome to the show, sister.
Lisa.
Hey guys. How you
Thank you
doing,
for joining
Lenore
us,
and
sister.
AJ and Joseph?
Good.
We're doing
How y'all
great
doing?
now that you're here, sister.
Good, you.
So I've got a question
Good.
from my brother, Big Luke. He says this, guys, and I'd like to get your opinion one at a time. He says, how does Boots Ennis fare against Virgil Ortiz Jr.? Wow.
Boots
Okay.
all
Okay, well, you're going to have to explain yourself, brother. Okay, so we're going to go counterclockwise, starting with Miss Lisa Bales. Lisa, how does Boots Ennis fare against young Virgil Ortiz Jr.?
You know, that was brought up earlier, guys. You know, he has all the intangibles. He has the talent. They both do. But somebody mentioned they don't know how he takes a really hard punch.
And there it is.
He did have a good fight with Lipinets. He pretty much like just disposed him like really quickly. And Lipinets is a good fighter.
Yeah, but I mean, in all truth though, Lipinets wasn't a full welterweight. He probably should have been fighting at that weight.
Yeah, he's a junior welterweight, guys, but he is still a good fighter. That is a very good point. Look.
Yeah.
So brother
I didn't know Boots was that big. He's huge.
Oh, he's huge.
Oh, he's a biscuit shy of 154, sister.
Yeah.
I mean, but so is Virgil. So Virgil's a big welterweight too himself. Virgil's big too. Yeah.
All these upcoming guys are big for the divisions.
Look, guys. Truth be known, both fighters are having a hard time currently making 47. Okay,
wow.
So they want their piece of the pie sooner rather than later, right? Like if you think Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez are big at 35, right? Well, yeah, you're looking at the same scenario between Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz Jr. They're not long for the welterweight division. Brother Lennar, explain yourself, brother.
Okay,
why do you think it'd be a cakewalk for Brother Ennis?
Well, I don't think it'd be a cakewalk. I just think that he'll earn the win, and here's why. I think that Ennis, he's more slick in the ring. I think he has better feet. I believe he's a little bit quicker. I like his fundamentals in the ring a little bit better than Virgil Ortiz. I think Virgil Ortiz gets hit a bit too much. And I mean, from what I can tell, Ennis does have a good punch. Again, the only variable about Ennis is, can he take a punch? We haven't really seen that yet. It seemed like he has a good beard on him, but again, he hasn't faced a really, really high level puncher like that yet. So that'd be interesting to see. But to me, you know, and this is more about eye test here. I mean, these guys are both still unproven, and just with the eye test alone, if we're gonna go there, I just think that Ennis has been looking more impressive. But then again, I do believe that Virgil Ortiz's competition is slightly better too. So I would favor Ennis in that fight. If they would fight right now, I just think that Ennis has too many toolbox in his arsenal for Ortiz. So that's why I give the win to Ennis.
Brother AJ, what say you, brother?
In all truth, I see that as a genuine 50-50 if they were to fight now. Honestly, I don't know. I kind of agree with Leonard. I mean, Boots would have to stick to a very consistent game plan to try to outbox Virgil. Don't go toe to toe with this young gun. You're gonna pay for it because Virgil can punch and he can take a punch himself. And because I strongly agree that Virgil's a big puncher, and you know, I might actually lean that 55-45 in Virgil's favor because he has been in. I believe he has been in with the better competition, honestly, than Boots. I mean, so that's why I give him more of a shot. But I see it as a genuine 50-50, 55-45 matchup in Virgil's favor.
Okay, what I'd like to know is, guys, why on earth is he fighting Tomas Delorme?
Oh my God, that's a mismatch.
Okay. So once again, that raises questions. Why are they so reluctant? Okay, in putting him in with the elite? I know he's somewhat of an avoided fighter because, hey, man, what's not to love about Boots Ennis right now? He looks to be the total package.
Yeah.
He can beat your ass from mid to long range. He can beat your ass underneath. He can fight proficiently on the inside. He's got great defensive skills. He's got great footwork. He looks like the second coming of Sugar Ray Robinson.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm going to say it. But just like J-Rock, guys,
that's true.
Don't get too high on a prospect until you see how well he can take a punch.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's very true.
So
well, you know what?
If you saw Virgil, he'll answer those
once
questions.
again, ask yourselves, why are they moving him so slowly?
I think
But Joseph, did I say this?
Avoided. I think he's being avoided, Joseph. I don't think he has the option.
I agree with you. I agree with you. He is being avoided, but come on. Tomas Delorme? Okay, I will say this, though.
There?
I will say this, though. Upon speaking with trainer Ismael Salas, okay, he says, you know what? I've circled this on the calendar, and I love a challenge. Okay, we're going to come up with a game plan that's going to test the chin of Jaron Ennis. So Tomas Delorme might only be a 6-round fighter at this stage in his career, but trust me when I tell you that big right hand within those 6 rounds, it's going to test the whiskers of Jaron Boots Ennis. I like his mentality.
If Ennis does prove to have a solid chin on him, what holds the future of Mr. Ennis, Joseph?
Sky's the limit, brother. I can see him being a champion as high as middleweight and super middleweight eventually. He's that good, guys. He's that good.
Right.
Miss Lisa Bells, what say you, sister?
I was gonna say this. Also he's a switch hitter, but here's the thing, right? Yeah, he had a bad deal before, or in a bad, situation contractually.
Yep,
but
I know all about that. Yep.
Yeah, but you got to understand this too, right, guys? That those welterweights that have been there a long time, they should have moved up. You got Keith Thurman that's over there. You got Sean Porter. Well, hasn't been there as long, but these guys have been there so long, and they're not willing to move up yet. So,
I'll tell you this. Hey, guys,
how can Boots shine? How can Boots shine?
That's my point exactly.
These guys.
Let me add something right quick, guys. I'll tell you this.
Brother AJ, the floor is yours, sir.
Let me drop a bombshell. Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis are so good, they would tear Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia to pieces.
Yep. Cosign.
I think that
at this stage, they both of them knocked both of them out.
Cosign, brother. You know what, man? Keith Thurman, don't be surprised if he pulls a Mikey Garcia and flounders when he finally comes back.
He's semi-retired, man. He's not coming back.
That's my point. So is Mikey Garcia, and we're going to talk about him later on in the show as well.
Oh God!
I think, but I will say, I think Spencer Crawford, boy, they have their hands full with these 2 young prospects. They have their hands full.
So my criticism of Yordenis Ugas, going back to our point, right? Going back to our topic, brother, shut your ass and quit complaining to the WBA. They gifted you a title, right? And if you want to defend it against someone that's going to bring you some headlines instead of Ines Stañones, well, then fight Boots Ennis. Fight Virgil Ortiz Jr. Let's make some real coin. Let's put some head. That's a huge event, right? You've got a voluntary, don't you? Don't you have a voluntary before your mandatory is enforced? Well, then tell the WBA, hey, man, I want to take on the best and the baddest at 147. Fight these young guns when they're in their prime, brother. Otherwise, shut the hell up and quit complaining to the sanctioning organization that just gave you a title via email. That's my final thought.
Fair.
Yep, agreed.
I mean, I can't agree 100%, but fair. You're entitled to your opinion on that one.
Oh, well, thank you for respecting the host, brother. brother Lenar, it's been too long. Thank you for gracing the airways, my friend. It's always a pleasure to share the air with you. Snoop C says this, Lennar, would Keith one-time Thurman give Virgil the opportunity? Thurman did acknowledge Virgil, but said he doesn't know who Jerron Ennis is. Well, how convenient of Keith Thurman not to know who Jerron Boots Ennis was, right? Thank you for joining us, Snoop C. Always enjoy your input. Also, shout out to my brother Minnie Meal. Thank you so much for always being a part of the program, sir. Okay, so now we're going to shift gears a little bit. Let me close out these. I don't need this, guys. So would you like to talk about I'm going to give you guys a choice, right?
What a start.
Would you guys like to talk about the undercard that was just announced? Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant pay-per-view undercard. Or would you guys like to talk about the recent on-screen squabble between Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, two of the biggest prima donna bitches? Pardon my French, Miss Lisa Bells. Two of the biggest prima donna bitches at 35.
Let's talk about the pussies.
Why y'all say that?
Talk about that. I want to talk about Haney. I want to talk about Haney and Teofimo Lopez because I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, quite the theatrics, really.
Okay, guys. Well, to set the table, right? Let's recap everything, right? So this on Saturday evening, live from Fresno, while all the focus was to be on Mikey Garcia versus Sandor Martin, well, these two prima donnas decided to create a little dust-up and controversy after the main event just took place, right? And, well, quite honestly, there was more action between Teofimo Lopez, his dad, and Bill Haney and Devin Haney. They came face-to-face with their fathers by their sides, and they started, well, getting into a pissing contest. Who was the more relevant, right? Now, keep in mind, guys, this kind of sets the table for the DAZN production here coming up in late November, early December. November 27th, more than likely, Teofimo Lopez is going to defend his belts against mandatory challenger George Kambosos Jr. in the Hulu Theater in New York, right? And the following weekend, now this is what I don't understand, and we need to talk about this also. Haney is trying to finalize a defense against mandatory challenger Jojo Diaz on December 3rd at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. First of all, guys, is that fight big enough and worthy of the Grand Garden Arena at the MGM?
No.
Wow.
No, well, what is Jojo Diaz? What ethnicity is he?
Oh, puro Mexicano, Holmes.
Okay, so okay. So I thought if he was Puerto Rican or something like that, he can.
No, he's from East LA, Vato.
Okay.
They both Californians. One is from Oakland.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting.
He's from Oakland, I think, or something like that, right from California. So it'll be
that's interesting.
Yeah, I say that because I can see what you're saying. This is if you're gonna make this an East Coast fight, you're gonna have to have East Coast fighters, or if these guys are not huge stars, unless the undercard is good. But then these guys are still on the. I mean, Jojo Diaz is who he is, and Haney is on the up and coming. So he isn't,
Does Haney sells out? Does he sell out his events? Because I'm not sure.
I don't know.
No. I mean, now once again, Devin Haney hasn't been a headliner but twice, and once was when the COVID was going on. He was in the bubble at the Seminole Hard Rock in Florida.
That was Gamboa, right?
Okay, yes, against Gamboa. The second time he was a headliner, it was against Jorge Linares at the Mandalay Bay, which is considerably smaller. That only seats 8,000, right? And they sold probably between 4,000 and 5,000 tickets. So you mean to tell me he's going to be expected to sell out a 16,000 seater?
No.
I mean, guys, this is all irrelevant because JoJo's not fighting Devin in December. So
I'm sorry, what?
I mean, I don't think JoJo's going to fight Devin in December.
He will. He will because
he will?
Yeah, because Ryan Garcia is out, and there are no other bigger money options. Now, once again, it's been revealed that Matchroom Sport, after the news of Ryan Garcia's absence, they've matched the purse that JoJo was supposed to receive. So, yeah, this is all but a mere formality. The fight is expected to be announced within the next 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
Can I ask you a question, Joseph?
Yes, sir.
If Haney beats JoJo, because I favor him to win, how good of a win is this? Is this a pretty decent win?
Okay. Of course it is. No. Keep in mind, JoJo Diaz, how many times has he lost?
Just once.
Once, right?
That's it.
Twice, yeah.
That was the Gary Russell.
Yep, that was just Gary Russell.
Yeah,
and trust me, guys, there's no shame in losing to Gary Russell Jr.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
No shame in that. And once again, did he get knocked out?
Nope.
No, he lost a 12-round UD. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually surprisingly competitive. Now, he does have a majority draw against Rakimov, right?
Yep.
His final fight at 130, in which he didn't make weight and had to relinquish his title on the scale, right? But he defeated decisively a tough guy and an awkward fighter like Javier Fortuna. So in my opinion, this is a great matchup in which Devin Haney, boy, he's going to be tested because JoJo Diaz is going to be applying pressure from start to finish. We're going to see how tough Devin Haney is. His only solace, in my opinion, well, I don't say his only, but his biggest solace here is that JoJo Diaz isn't a huge puncher at 35.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he is a much better inside fighter than anyone that Devin Haney has faced up to this point. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
But once again, is it worthy of the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Vegas?
Well, I think that the winner of this fight, assuming it's Devin, you never know. I slightly favor Devin in this, but assuming it's Devin, this will do good. You said it's a good win on his resume, and if he beats JoJo Diaz, it's going to build up his audience too, right? It's as good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Well, yeah,
I thought you said it was at Madison Square Garden.
I'm sorry, what?
I thought you said it was at Madison Square Garden.
No. That's Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos on November 27th. It's going to be at the Little Big House at Madison Square Garden, the Hulu Theater, which only seats around 5.5 maybe 5,000 people.
The Old Fell Forum.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Very good, Lisa.
I live in this area. That's why I know.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
But doesn't this does wonders for Haney's career if he's able to win, right, Joseph?
If he's able to win, and once again, guys, if he can get past JoJo Diaz and win decisively, using that sledgehammer jab of his and being able to control range against a guy who's going to be trying to apply pressure from start to finish. If he gets past JoJo Diaz and wins decisively, this is a huge feather in his cap. Yeah. But mark my words, guys, and this is going to the Teofimo Lopez debate, the squabble, the pissing contest. Both guys are a biscuit shy of 140. This is going to be his last fight at 135 pounds. Devin Haney can no longer make the weight. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if he failed to make weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Like
Well, I know T.O. doesn't look well in the face to me.
Look, and I really feel for him. To be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me if George Kambosos gave him fits when they finally do fight in November. Like, have you ever heard of a fight being postponed this many times?
No.
And when you're killing yourself trying to make 35, that can't be easy on your body.
Joseph, could I add something?
Yes, sir.
By the way, thank you for clearing that up about, Devin was going to fight JoJo. I just thought that, like, how the WBC ordered Ryan and Joseph to fight, I thought, like, they were kind of like, it was some trickery, some school, like some shenanigans going on. They were keeping how they were keeping.
Well, right now,
they were keeping them away from Devin.
Guys, right now as we speak, Ryan Garcia is going under the knife at Cedar Sinai.
He's what? Oh, he is.
He's getting his hand surgically repaired. Yep. And
Okay,
Deontay Wilder went under the knife this morning. So prayers for a speedy recovery go out to both gentlemen.
What happened to Wilder? What happened to him?
He got knocked the fuck out.
No, I know that. I'm saying, like, what was his exact injury?
He broke his middle metacarpal. That's the big one. The one that creates that Y between both fingers, right?
His hand.
He completely busted his right middle metacarpal. Right?
Oh my god!
That's a huge injury, guys.
Hey, you know why it's so critical for Wilder? Because again, Wilder relies on his power, and I'm telling you, if Wilder loses power from his hand being broke,
retirement.
Oh boy!
Yep. He's gonna start getting beat by everybody.
Because he's gonna get because he's not gonna have the power.
Look, guys. So his decision to fight fire with fire and wear the MX Everlast. Boy, was that wise?
No.
You got KTFO'd anyway, brother. Yeah, thanks for playing. Chingo.
I mean, see, it's like while they're in his team, they're like, even though they're a professional boxing team, they don't seem to have much knowledge of boxing. I don't think.
Brother, they're amateurs, and I did a show about this the night before the fight.
Thank you for that, Joseph. That was a hilarious episode. I loved it.
Thank you, brother. And once again, they're amateurs. This is what happens when you hire your friends to make up your team, and they're not professionals first, right? Yeah. I mean, they didn't even know the difference between horsehair and foam core gloves.
Nothing but yes men.
Wow.
That's comical. If it weren't so terrible, it would be laughable. Like, honestly, I was in shock. Man, he might as well have paid me a couple grand, man, to be a part of his team. I could have steered him clear of that. I'm like, look, Deontay, when you can punch as hard as you can, okay, your primary objective is to protect your tools. There's a reason why you stopped wearing those MX Everlast, because they're terrible gloves. They're terrible gloves. I know a lot of fighters whose hands have been broken because of it. And one of them I was doing publicist work for at the time, Mickey Bay Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He started wearing MX Everlast when they first came out. And I said, Mickey, what the hell are you doing, man? No, I like to feel my knuckles against their forehead. And I'm like, really? You're not going to be saying that after you broke your hand with these gloves. And guess what? He broke his hand.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm surprised he didn't wear Grants. Like
you know what?
Mayweather wore.
He should have. They're the most protective, and I tell you what, I swear by Grants, they're the best gloves in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
The very best manufactured gloves in boxing, the Elvis Grants. There's nothing else like them, guys. They're form-fitting.
Yep, Hopkins won.
Right? Hey, Brother Ayo. Welcome to the chat, sir. Good to see you here. I tell you what, and once again, the close second. Who's making all that noise? What are you rummaging through, brother? Okay, there it is. That was Brother Lenar. There it is.
Yay!
Sorry, Joe.
Brother Correa.
Sorry,
there it is. That's all right, man. Look, dude.
I was getting dinner right now.
Okay, well, what are you making, by the way, man?
No, I already had some food already made. It's some beef strips and then potatoes, and then I'm trying to figure out what else. I haven't even looked through everything, what I have.
Okay, well, do me a favor. Give us the heads up next time you're working on dinner, man.
Sorry about that.
Dude, that sounds flipping delicious. I haven't even had dinner yet, man. Chingao.
Yeah.
But I tell you what. You know what, guys? Honestly, let's go back to Teofimo Lopez spouting, getting into a pissing contest versus Devin Haney. And once again, it was quite embarrassing. Devin Haney brought up, well, I have more followers. I make more money. Oh, Chingao.
Like, is this what it's come to, really?
Oh, my gosh.
Like, just, you know what, Joseph? Guess what? Toss these two clowns back in the 70s with Roberto Duran.
Oh my word! You know what? They would honestly, they would piss their pants and start crying to their dads. Roberto Duran would run both of them out of the ring in the same night.
Yes, he would.
Seriously, like honestly, I would be embarrassed. You plop them in any other era. Okay, I'll give it. Look, forget Roberto Duran. That guy's too much man for either one of them. Plop him at 135 against a prime Sugar Shane Mosley at lightweight.
Oh, woo!
Sugar Shane fought mean. He fought mean. Woo!
Okay, so how would they fare at 35 against a prime Sugar Shane Mosley?
I think Mosley would tear their ass up.
A product of the generation.
It is.
You know, it's about Twitter followers, Instagram followers, money, flossing. I just think they're just a product of their generation.
What happened you going was when Devin was walking when he goes, Devin's like, your cap.
Oh my gosh, brother. Oh my gosh, is he going to curtsy after this? Holy shit. They're like, Devin, come on, brother. It's like, realistically, you've been overpaid. You're a product of an inflated purse, and you're going to find that out. You know what? I guarantee you, okay, just my knowledge of the business of boxing, Eddie Hearn is putting him at the MGM Grand Garden Arena just to teach him a lesson that he couldn't sell out my living room on a Saturday night.
But Joseph, you know where things went wrong?
So
what if he sell out though?
So listen to this. If he sells out, then he's worth that $3 million now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but when he doesn't, is he going to be able to demand that kind of $3 million purse that he's grown accustomed to receiving? No. It's a brilliant move by Eddie Hearn. This is what I'm getting to, guys. It's Eddie Hearn's knowledge of the business. He's like, okay, Junior, sink or swim. Either you can sell out and sell these tickets or you can't. And if you can't, well, good luck getting $3 million purse, bud. That's it. That's it. That's the reality, guys.
I'll tell you, I mean, could I add something right quick?
Go ahead, sir.
I'll tell you where things went sideways. On October 17th last year, 2020, when Loma lost his belts, that's when the lightweight division went sideways.
Bro, and you know what's so crazy? Like, Joseph, you know as well as I do, and everybody on this panel, that little argument they had, it's not gonna make the fight any closer.
No, of course it isn't. This is Terrence Crawford and Spence all over again. When they had that backstage drama back 3 years ago. This is that all over again. That's what this is.
Yeah,
we're going to be waiting another 2 to 3 years before we get that fight. We're going to be here like 2025, and they haven't fought yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on?
These guys will be lucky to be able to make 135 in their next fights. And they're trying to talk about who the man is at 35.
No, y'all know who the man is. Y'all just don't want to fight him, and that's Lomachenko.
I have to say something, guys. I'm going to rewind, AJ, what you said. AJ, what you said.
What's up?
You said the lightweight division when Lomachenko got beat.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna rewind it back a little bit. I think that by Loma going for that, that's what really messed it up. The franchise.
Talking about the franchise stuff, right? Yeah.
That's what messed stuff up to me.
Yeah.
So Loma got to put some onus, you know what I'm saying, on it too.
He do. You're right. That's true. That's true. I mean, it's just that, like, how I'm saying, like, if Loma would have beat Tio, he would have fought Kambosos next, no fuss, no muss, early this year. He would have beat him, and he would have kept things moving pretty much. And now, as far as the franchise stuff goes, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I mostly blame the WBC for that. I mean, but go ahead, Joseph. Sorry.
Now, once again, let's say that Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez are in serious discussions to make that fight a reality in 2022. What kind of purse are we looking at, guys?
I don't even. But the thing about it too is like,
would they agree to take 50-50?
It's interesting to see what it's going to be for Teal, because I mean, we haven't seen what Teal could draw after beating Lomachenko. I don't think Teal was the biggest draw himself before Lomachenko.
Hell no. And look, that's the problem that both guys are having now. Neither guy is a legitimate headliner. Neither man is a big ticket seller. Neither man has a proven attraction. So once again, what's the purse going to look like here, guys? Because both guys expect a certain amount of money, and when you're talking about facing another stud like Haney or Lopez, how much money do you think they're going to expect? Okay, they're going to expect a purse comparable to Porter Crawford. And I'm sorry, guys, is this a pay-per-view fight?
I don't know. That's the thing. The problem is, and this is Tio. My problem with Tio too. I like Tio as a fighter. I think he's real good. But my problem with Tio is like after he beat Lomachenko, he acts like he is like this.
He's a diva.
Okay, well, hold on, brother Lenar. I love you, man. But look, at least he beat Lomachenko. Devin Haney's acting like this, and he hasn't beaten shit.
No. I understand. Like, definitely, Haney has his thing, but
that's what's so laughable. These guys basically have pubic hair on their scrotum, and they're actually walking around like they're the big swinging dick in the room. Come on. This is absurd.
It's funny, like Tio Senior seems to talk so much. I mean, Tio Senior is going at Eddie like, you think he could beat my son? You think he could beat my son?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, you know what? You know what would be a better pay-per-view fight in my mind? If Tio Senior fought Bill Haney in the main event. That would be a more fitting main event on a pay-per-view. And Crime in Italy, I tell you what, it's better than any one of these terrible matchups on the undercard of Caleb Plant and Canelo Alvarez.
I agree.
Seriously, I would love to see drunk-ass Tio Senior take on pot-smoking Bill Haney. I would love to see that. Would love to see that. Thank you so much.
You know how I would also like to see this because the trash talk. I would have loved to see Angel Garcia versus Tio's dad. Just for that press conference would be so funny. That would be so funny.
But Tio Senior is Angel on steroids, man.
Oh, look, hey, brother. Hey, you know what? Say what you want about Angel, but have you noticed how unpopular Danny Garcia has become since they muzzled Angel? Like, keep in mind, he was the mouthpiece. He was the guy that everyone loved to quote. Danny Garcia became an afterthought when Al Heyman gave him the muzzle and told him to shut the F up. So say what you want about those guys, but they're the mouthpieces for their children. And honestly, they would be wise to do a Danny Garcia and shut the F up. Just let their dads do all the hard work. Let their dads do all the promotion. Let those drunk-ass buffoons promote your career and just take a back seat. Right?
It's funny, like,
on what undercard? Oh, boy. We're going to talk about that in a second, Io. Hold on, brother. I want to give a shout-out to my brother, Antonio Luna. In a second, Lisa Bales, you've got the floor in just a second. I want to give a shout-out to my brother, Antonio Luna. He says, when asked how much money would Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez ask for, in my Dr. Evil voice, $1 million. Yes, brother Antonio. Love you, man. And the floor is yours, Queen Lisa Bales.
I was going to say, well, I mean, we're talking about that, but the big heavyweight matchup that just happened recently didn't spell out either. Let's be honest.
And there it is. That. And do you know why?
Why?
Because neither man's a big ticket seller in America.
Yeah,
I know Deontay Wilder's fans would disagree with me, but look, he's never been a big ticket seller. They tried to, guys, if you look at his history, they tried to shop him all over the place. In England, in Alabama, in New York, in New Jersey, in California, in Vegas. He's never been a big ticket seller. That's it. Okay, and Tyson Fury isn't a huge ticket seller in America either. He's not a huge ticket seller in the UK. These are two guys who are marquee fighters, but have never been big ticket sellers. You can't tell me that a heavyweight fight of that magnitude doesn't sell out in less than a week. In any other era.
Hello?
When does that happen? When does that happen, guys? Brother Lenar, your thoughts?
Sorry. I stepped in for a quick second. Are you talking about the Fury versus Wilder fight?
Yes, not selling out. Absolutely.
No,
Lisa Bells brings up a great point.
Yeah. I don't think and I'll give I don't think Wilder's not, and Fury's not a big seller in America himself. That Otto Wallin fight was abysmal. They're both.
Yep.
I like Fury's the goods. He's great, but he's not the biggest seller in America, and Deontay isn't either. And you're right. If this was the peak heavyweight era, you would have seen these two guys sell out.
Yep. Look. Yeah, and this is a problem that boxing currently faces, guys. Now, once again, after their tremendous showing last Saturday, boy, if they planned a fourth, it would sell out in probably a couple days. Right? But we're talking about before their tremendous effort this past Saturday. Snoop C says, did Madison Square Garden reject Shakur Stevenson versus Jamel Herring? Another YouTube channel mentioned this. And once again, they're not journalists. So I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. They initially, because once again, Shakur Stevenson, he's got a following in New Jersey, right? But upon further review, and we're going to talk to Bruce about this on Thursday, that venue is way too big for this fight. Guys, Jamel Herring versus Shakur Stevenson is a diehard boxing fans fight, but it's not a huge commercial event.
It's not.
Like when you look at it's not a pay-per-view event, and that's why it's not on pay-per-view, because look, they're having trouble selling tickets in Atlanta.
Oh.
That tells you everything you need to know about this. So once again, it wasn't MSG rejecting it. It was Top Rank being the wiser and moving it to a smaller venue. And as it is, they're having trouble selling tickets. It's not sold out yet, and it's not going to sell out, guys.
I don't think and Shakur Stevenson got out of all these young fighters, 135, around 135, he has the least followers on social media. So he's even less than what Haney is. And I think Shakur, he's great, but I have this as a 50-50 fight. After I saw what Shakur did his last fight, when he was just doing those 1-2s and playing it safe, going in there with a veteran like Jamel Herring, it's gonna be interesting. I think that if he gets to Jamel, man, that'd be a big feather he could put in his cap.
All right, brother. Well, I'm going to tell you this, and Brother Lenar, I love you, man. Yeah, but I'm going to break the news to you, my friend.
What?
This is going to be a terrible stylistic matchup and a terribly uneventful fight. I'm sorry to break this to you guys. This fight, this matchup, unless Jamel Herring miraculously becomes an effective aggressor overnight in one camp, it's going to be like watching paint dry. This is a terrible style matchup. Look. Jamel is going to try to press the action. That's the only way he can win, and he's not proficient in doing that. He's never shown evidence in his entire career that he can do it. And I love Jamel Herring. He's one of my favorite guys within the business. He's a great guy. He's a good family man. He's a hardworking Marine. He's a bad dude. But he is out of his element in this style matchup. It's a terrible style matchup. Okay, so Io says this. He says Shakur is boring respectfully. Yes. No, I think you mean to say respectively. Yes, he is respectively boring. That's what makes this fight terribly uneventful. Guys, if you want a sneak preview of what you're going to see this Saturday night, go on YouTube and look up Austin Trout versus Erislandy Lara. Two southpaw counterpunchers waiting for the other guy to get off first.
But
Go on YouTube and pull up that fight. That's what you're going to see this Saturday night, guys.
But here's the thing. In boxing, there's different styles.
Yep.
And Shakur is like what you call more or less more of a purist type of. You have to have develop a
pro style. He doesn't have the pro style down to a T yet. He has still the amateurish style, I think. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, you could say the same about a lot of Cubans.
Yep.
They have more,
look,
but it's a pure. You have to have
And Lisa's right on the money. Look, their entertainment value depends on their level of opposition and their style matchup. Look, if you pit either Jamil Herring or Shakur Stevenson up against a relentless aggressor, say someone who fights like Bam Bam Rios, they're going to look great. They're going to look like the most exciting fighters in boxing. But this isn't that matchup, guys. This is going to be terribly uneventful. This is going to look exactly like what we just saw last Saturday in Frank Sanchez versus Efe Ajagba. Two tentative fighters waiting for their opponent to get off first.
Right.
It's going to be awful, guys. Yeah. And I hate to break this to you, but my 20 years of experience tells me this, guys. And I hate to say this because I want so desperately for the sport of boxing to keep up the momentum that we just garnered last Saturday night.
But that's the thing, though, Joseph. We can't expect these prospects to do that. It's up to the pros to set the example because they're at their highest level right now.
They just did. They just did. And you know what? That they shouldn't. They don't deserve to be on this stage. They don't deserve to be two big headliners. Okay? They're given this opportunity. And you know what? Pardon my French, Lisa Bales, but they need to let their balls hang in the ring. They need to take more risks. Look, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, they took the ultimate risk. And they let it all hang out in the ring. They let their hearts spill out onto the canvas. And you know what? If these guys want to be great, they need to put forth that same effing effort. But guess what? They're not going to.
I mean, last week's fight was okay to me. I've seen better. I mean, it was a good fight. Don't get me wrong, but it was very sloppy.
Are you referring to Fury versus Wilder 3 being okay?
I thought it was okay, but I thought it was very sloppy in parts, but I don't like as far as me putting it up there. It was a good fight trilogy for this era, but like one of my favorite trilogies, and especially part one was Bo versus Holyfield.
Yes, that's a great call, sister. And once again, I'll even go one further. Like everyone's talking about, oh, this is the greatest ever. Okay, well, in terms of technique, drama, and excitement, and action, right? I'm sorry, but Brewster versus Liakovic was better. Okay, but what made this fight so great is one, the stakes. This was for the ring heavyweight championship. It was to be the man in the heavyweight division. And what also made this such a great fight is all of the legitimate bad blood between both guys.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this, like when you talk about the buildup to this, even Kate Abdo, like, and this is a non-issue. She brought up Glovegate. And why? Just to expose the bad blood between both guys. And guess what? Mission accomplished. So when you're looking at, it's not just the action in the ring, it's the stakes involved as well as the bad blood drama. And guess what? Both guys, they threw out all technical ability and just wanted to beat the living shit out of either guy. Yeah, they wanted to beat the living shit out of their opponent, and guess what? The fans won. Boxing won. The sport won that night. Right? On the biggest stage of boxing. When does that ever happen anymore?
It's a slugfest. There's that old school. You know what? Man versus man. This is not a boxing match anymore. This is a street fight, and they just let it all hang out.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
true. That's true. Yeah, I'm
That's
glad
it.
you
To the
pointed
head and
that
all
out.
that.
I never looked at it like that.
Huh?
You know
I
what?
said, I'm glad you pointed that out.
That's why the fight was so critically acclaimed, right? And you still have, right? I know a lot of mainstream and casual fans who are still talking about this fight, saying it was the greatest fight they have ever seen in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
because they're casuals, but it's good for the sport though, Joseph. When you hear casuals say
it's
that, because
great for the sport.
Yeah,
And that's my
Right.
point. It's up to the fighters to keep that momentum up. What did we see on
Right,
DAZN
right,
this past Saturday? We saw Mikey Garcia look like a big fat tub of caca. All right, and I'm trying to keep my language clean because Miss Lisa Bells is in the queue right now, right?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, then I'll say what I really felt. He looked like a big tub of shit, right? He couldn't. I mean, this is a guy who demands millions to step foot in the ring, and he looked like a club fighter the other night.
Joseph was funny when they announced the decision. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
Yep,
I'm sorry.
I'm serious.
I'm sorry. You know,
$7 million for Jesse fucking Vargas.
Yep, and this should be a lesson to every fighter. And I hope Keith Thurman's listening. Guys, this is what happens when you're a semi-retired fighter and you have no more passion for the sport. Okay, it shows. You wear it like a dress. Okay, it's all over you. Like it's easy to spot. Look, fans want to be inspired. Fans want to see inspired. They want to see guys take risks in the ring. They want to see guys who want to be great, who dare to be great. Like fans pay good money to be inspired. And I'm sorry, that performance doesn't inspire anybody. But Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, they inspired all of us by what lengths they were willing to go just to prove their greatness.
Yeah,
that's what we like. Think about why you fell in love with the sport in the first place. Think about why, guys, and it all boils down to that. What fight made you a diehard fan?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Several.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, so I'm going to go around, guys, and I want you to name what fight significantly made you a diehard fan. Like you saw that and you said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe what I just saw." Lisa Bells, you first, sister.
When I was little, I didn't understand it totally, but Thriller in Manila comes to mind, but I was little watching it with my stepfather, and I didn't understand totally, but I just remember Ali sitting there sweating, and the Philippines was so hot, and sweat just pouring off him, the towel on his head, and just looked like at that moment he looked like a man that just didn't want to do it anymore.
But he still did it.
And yeah, and I remember Joe Frazier. It was just like, those were like very vivid memories, but I was a kid.
Okay, I'm going to put this up because this was a truly great fight. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but this is one of my favorite fights on Showtime. Oh my gosh. Fritas versus Barrios. And yes, it was 2000, brother. Lemon Pepper Chitlins has the beat here. Guys, Popo Fritas versus Barrios. That was a barn burner. Fritas got the knockout in the final round of that fight. Both guys floored each other several times. That was a truly great time capsule fight at 130 pounds. Oh, my word. That was a great call, brother. Beautiful.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
You know, I got another one.
Yes, ma'am.
One of my favorites. Bobby Chacon versus Bazooka Lamone 4.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Like anything with Bobby Chacon, man. Oh, that was a barn burner. Also, do you remember how red Bobby Chacon's face was at the end of that fight?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that was brutal. Absolutely brutal. Brother Lenar, what is your favorite? Like, what was the first fight that you watched that made you a diehard fan?
See, here's the thing. With me, it was more of like a process. I didn't have one fight because I'm a young, as you can tell, I'm a young guy. So I grew up with the Mayweather era. So when I used to see Mayweather fight, I used to get pumped up. I used to root for him. So it was never like a particular fight that I said, "Oh my gosh!" But it was more of a build up of watching Mayweather fight, and then then it expanded and sprouted into other things. But I can give you fights that I've absolutely loved, like. Man, I really love Marvin Hagler versus Thomas Hearns when they just went balls to the wall. That's like,
see, that's what I'm saying. You take risks. Damn the consequences. You take risks, and whatever happens, happens. You roll the dice.
You roll the dice.
Right?
I love that one. And
guys, if Jamel Herring wants to be great this Saturday, he's going to have to take risks and roll the dice. He's going to have to show Shakur Stevenson that he's more man than him. Right. Okay, in my opinion, that's not going to happen. But if he wants to be great and he wants to make an impact in this sport, he's going to have to. Right? Mm-hmm. He's going to have to.
Another one I like is I absolutely love James Toney versus McCullum.
Oh my gosh, the body snatcher! Wow, yeah. What a great fight! You know what? Do you remember? Do you remember when James Toney briefly competed at cruiserweight?
Yes.
Do you remember James Toney versus Vasily Zhirov at cruiserweight?
Oh, that was a good fight.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Holy cow. Both guys were just drilling each other for 12 rounds. Do you remember hearing my brother, the late great Emmanuel Stewart, call that fight?
Mm-hmm.
He was like standing up, giving them an ovation right there on press row. Right?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh.
Oh,
guys, do yourself a favor if you've never watched that fight. Guys, go look up James Toney versus the Tiger, Vasily Zhirov from Russia. And guys, be amazed. That fight was a time capsule. Like both guys just beat the living snot out of each other.
Yeah.
And the fact that both men ended that fight on their feet is amazing.
You know another memory of mine?
Go ahead,
I'm gonna let you go, Alex. When Nigel Benn fought McClellan. But remember when every time something anticlimactic happened, Big Frank Bruno jumped up with that loud suit on. Screaming at remember? I can remember that. He had like Bruno. A peach suit on.
Yeah.
He had a peach suit on. That was some wild stuff, man.
Man, that was.
Oh my gosh, man. So many great fights. AJ, brother AJ, what is your favorite fight that made you a diehard fan, brother?
Oh boy, where to start? Okay, one in particular that I thought was one of the greatest boxing matches of all time is KSI versus Logan Paul.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! All right, that's it, brother. You're muted.
AJ, we're gonna get you. AJ, we're gonna.
No. You can LOL. I'm just playing. Okay, let me get you. Okay, all right. One for me that really did it was fight of the century. Ali Frazier won.
Oh boy.
Oh, Ali Frazier 3 was underrated. Oh man.
Ali Frazier won, man. That's also in like Marvin Hagler. One fight that I really liked. Him and John the freaking Beast Mugabe.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
What a great fight! Tremendous, man. I love it. Oh, I love it, man. Dude, John the Beast Mugabe. Holy cow! And you know what's amazing? Gosh, what is his name? Hall of Fame publicist. He came up with his nickname, the Beast, when he was. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm not.
Is he from the UK?
No. He's doing work for Golden Web Promotions now. And I had the pleasure of working with him, and now I can't remember his name. Holy cow! Hold on, I'll do it in a second, man. Hold on, guys. Gosh, darn it!
Could I list another one?
Go ahead, sir.
One fight that I think is really underrated that I did really enjoy was Holyfield and Smoke and Burt Cooper.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my god!
You know
That
what?
was a war.
Yeah.
Holyfield, you know what? For me,
he almost got knocked out in the third round, bro. He was done. He was on Queer Street.
Burt Cooper, one of my favorite fighters.
Also another low key classic was Burt Cooper versus Ray Mercer. Y'all seen that one?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man!
Michael Moorer too.
Yep, that too.
Yep.
Well, also
You know
like
what?
one fight in the middleweight division. One more. Gerald McClellan versus the Hawk, Jillian Jackson.
Oh my god!
my
1 and
God.
2 was wild.
Oh my gosh!
The first fight.
Holy cow!
You know what? You know what?
Two murderous punches just going toe to toe, man. Just not.
Oh.
You know
Gotta love
what?
it. Yep.
Or any fight, and you know what? Any fight with what's his name? Oh my gosh, the guy from the Terry Norris. Oh, I'm Terry Norris to go at him.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
Terrible Terry Norris.
Oh man.
Yep.
The Hawk
You know what?
The Hawk stretched that dude.
Like when you bring up Evander Holyfield and his greatest fights, guys, you have to mention Holyfield Cowie 1.
Oh yeah!
Come on, man! Come on! That
yeah.
To me. Now, once again, I love me some James Toney versus Vasily Zhirov, but in my opinion, the greatest cruiserweight fight of all time, Holyfield versus Muhammad Qawi.
Yep.
You have I'm sorry, that is the greatest of all time. Number one, the very first fight between the both of them. Dwight Muhammad Qawi.
Yeah,
those are some great words.
Yeah.
Now, once again, guys, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, think about all those fights that you just mentioned, and think about the crap that we get on a regular basis nowadays. Okay, so now I tell you, think about why everyone is having that kind of reaction to Fury versus Wilder 3.
Because it's a throwback.
It's a throwback. That's exactly why, guys. That's why.
Well, could I name one more? Just one more to cap this off?
Let's hear it, brother.
The WAWR trilogy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know what?
Of course.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
I
I'm going to say
there.
this: the greatest fight I've ever seen live and covered live, and I just started in this business. Diego Corrales versus Jose Luis Castillo, number 1, at the Mandalay Bay.
Yep.
That was a vicious fight. Yeah. Oh, I got a quadrillery, one of my favorites.
What?
Israel Vasquez versus Rafael Marquez.
Rafa versus Izzy. Holy cow! All 4 fights were sick. Like
he
both
lost
guys.
His eye.
Yep.
He lost his eye.
Yep. Izzy lost his eye as a result. Yep. And you know what, guys? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm saying these guys, and then now.
But let's not forget about Sugar Ray Leonard versus Thomas Hearns.
And when gosh!
Guys!
Honestly,
wait, guys! One more heavyweight.
Go ahead, sir.
Foreman versus Lau.
Oh my gosh! You know what? But guys, now think about all of this. Now, once again, with all of this that we just talked about, think about now how absurd Teofimo Lopez looks arguing with Devin Haney after last Saturday night's main event on DAZN. Think about how stupid they look now.
Yeah, it's all man. It
could have been just promo. You think it was scripted?
I would be surprised.
I don't. Honestly, I think they were hoping that something would happen, right?
I mean, Eddie Hearn is just looking with that stare like a creepy uncle with dollar signs in his eyes.
Yeah, I think he was hoping that something like that would happen. Anything to publicize their 2 fights coming up on DAZN, right?
Yeah.
But come on, like it's laughable when you look at these guys talking about I've got more followers, I make more money. And then you look at any of the fights that we just mentioned. It's laughable, guys. These guys look like kids. They look like two preschoolers fighting over a ring pop. Okay, so our brother Lemon Pepper Chitlins, he says, rumor is Ronnie Shields is AJ new trainer. Okay, well, you didn't catch the first part of this podcast, right? So tomorrow night, Ronnie is going to come and maybe he can talk about it, maybe he can't. But that rumor is very real. Like they're currently negotiating terms right now, guys. So all I'm asking you is keep Brother Ronnie in your prayers because this would be absolutely huge for Coach Ronnie Shields.
Yes,
and definitely. No one deserves this assignment more than he does. Okay?
Yes.
So Lemon Pepper Chitlins, please keep him in your prayers. Our brother Coach Ronnie could get a huge assignment like this. Please keep him in your prayers, guys.
We'll do.
Yeah. But you know, AJ, my favorite heavyweight, so
him and Dylan White. Him and Dylan White are my favorites.
Yeah.
Well, I tell
AJ,
you what, guys.
AJ and Klitschko, that was a classic.
Hello.
Oh, I love AJ and Klitschko.
Are we doing modern day classics? Modern
day classics. That's fine too, brother.
Bro, Porter versus Spence. I fucking love the shit out of that fight, yo.
That's a great fight too. That's a great fight too.
That's one of my favorites. I just, for some reason, that fight, it had everything I wanted to see. I mean, you would see these guys was turning each other against the ropes. There was a drop in there. It was just everything. I was like, man, I love that fight.
But I tell you what, guys. If you really think that Spence versus Porter floats your boat, Lennar, and once again, all respect, brother, go back and watch Brewster versus Liakovic. Come on now.
No,
Come on. Go back and watch Tony versus Yurov. Come on.
Oh, I've seen it, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Go back and watch Holyfield versus Kawi. Okay.
I know.
And then think about Spence versus Porter because that was a great fight on today's standard. But I'm sorry.
By the way, Joe, I'm having fun. Could I just name two more just for the hell of it, please?
Absolutely, sir. Yeah. By all means.
All right. Durant versus Leonard and Barkley.
Hell yes. The Blade.
Wow, yes.
The Blade.
I got a real good one for you.
Let's hear it, sister.
We're just talking about just barn burners and wars, but there's good technical fights. One of the best inside fighting in the pocket fights I ever saw was Georgie Benton versus Ruben the Hurricane Carter.
Oh my gosh. Georgie Benton was the defensive master on the inside. How did that guy do it? Like he could drill you with a 5-punch combination and still not get hit. Georgie Benton was the defense. In my opinion, he is the only, like, I'll say this, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the best defensive fighter I'll ever see in my lifetime. But he takes a back seat to sitting in the pocket and not getting hit behind Georgie Benton. Georgie Benton was the defensive master. That guy could do it all in the ring.
Right. And they was head to head, side to side, and just banging it out. Now, Brandon Rios and Mikey Alvarado.
Oh, my gosh. That was a great fight. I covered those fights as well. You know what, man? I'll say this. Brandon Rios doesn't get enough credit for being the best inside fighter in boxing since Jose Luis Castillo.
Absolutely.
That guy was a beast. Just ask.
Credit.
Just ask. I'm sorry, I forget his name. Not Lamont, but his brother, Anthony Peterson.
Yeah.
Okay, just ask Anthony Peterson how proficient Bam Bam Rios is on the inside, right? That guy was a monster. Like, and once again, you could make a huge ring, 50 by 50 feet, and Brandon Rios would be able to smell your breath.
Yes, yeah.
He was a beast, man. He was a beast at 135 and 140.
You want to know one of those suicide fights when Tim Bradley went suicide when he fought Ruslan Provodnikov? Man, he went suicide.
Ruslan Provodnikov and Tim Bradley was an instant classic.
that was crazy.
You know what it was?
And did Bradley take that as a tune-up? Did Bradley take that as a tune-up?
Okay, to this day, guys, to this day.
And you know what it was with Bradley too? Is because when Bradley, when he got that decision against Pacquiao, he felt in his mind like, man, I gotta really prove myself that, you know what I'm saying? That he almost got killed in that damn ring that night. Oh,
Look, guys, I'll say this after interviewing Tim Bradley, right? And this is recently. Tim Bradley insists that he was never the same after that Ruslan Provodnikov fight. He says that's one of the reasons why he decided to retire from boxing is because of the lingering effects from that fight.
Bradley.
And that's the God's honest truth.
He went kamikaze.
He slurred speech and everything after that fight.
Yeah.
Our brother Dragon Leg joined us late. Shout out to you, Dragon Leg. Thank you for joining us. He says, is it true AJ's training with Ronnie Shields? Well, I tell you what, brother, you can ask him tomorrow. Okay, we're going live 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can ask him yourself, my friend. All I can say is Dragon Leg, and I've already stated this several times. All I can say is Dragon Leg, please keep Coach Ronnie in your prayers tonight, brother. Because this is an assignment that he, in my opinion, he needs. He needs this, right?
Yeah.
Because he is a guy who's worthy of Hall of Fame stature, right? And he consistently gets overlooked for some strange reason by these fat-ass boxing writers who don't know any better, right? So I'm going to say that. So please, Dragon Leg, keep Coach Ronnie in your prayers tonight, brother.
I definitely will.
Because he is worthy. This is he would be perfect for this assignment, right? Thank you, brother Dragon Leg. I appreciate it, my friend. Coach Ronnie, in my opinion, Coach Ronnie needs this, guys.
Yo, quick question.
Yes, sir.
You think Ronnie could definitely help AJ get his mojo back?
I know he could. Look, this is why I'm saying people will finally start to give Ronnie Shields credit when they see him put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Right? Like, you're going to see it, guys. You're going to see it. He's going to do wonders, not only with the fundamentals, but the mentality, the mental part of it. Yeah. He is going to be great for this position, right? He's going to do great. And I hope Coach Ronnie gets this job. He's the man for it. Brother Antonio says Canelo versus Triple G, both fights.
No, sorry, sir. Disagree with you there.
Canelo versus Triple G.
He says Canelo won both fights.
The first fight, absolutely not. I don't know what he was watching.
Triple G won the first fight, in my opinion.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't stop laughing at that. I love you, brother Antonio, but I'm sorry, brother. Look, Adelaide Bird, she phoned in that card, brother.
Yeah, she did in the parking lot. She did in the parking lot.
My word. Oh, my gosh. Okay, guys, so on that note, let's shift gears and address our final topic of the night. Are you ready for this? Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant pay-per-view undercard was just announced. On paper, one of the worst cards in recent memory. All right? In the co-main event, you've got Andre the Dog Durrell taking on middleweight Marcos Hernandez.
I thought he retired.
Exactly.
Who is that?
Then you've got Ray Vargas. Who is that? That speaks volumes. So then you've got Ray Vargas versus Leonardo Baez.
Was he supposed to fight Gary Russell? Was he supposed to fight Gary Russell?
Yeah, of course. But he didn't. And then opening the pay-per-view, fired and canned by Top Rank, you've got Elvis Rodriguez versus Juan Pablo Romero.
I know Elvis.
And that rounds out your pay-per-view card for Canelo versus Plant.
Yeah, I'll wait till the main event starts. Thank you.
Well, you know what?
Word, guys.
I'm going to say this. You got to understand, look at the money that they gotta pay Canelo and Plant. So
Of course.
maybe
Yep.
that's
That's the
why.
reason why.
Yeah,
It'll let him go
yeah.
to his own.
Okay, guys. So
What I want to say that one thing, even though he never, had the absolute talent and accolades, I absolutely love the way Anthony Durrell boxes. I just really love it. He's one of those fighters that whenever I see him box, I just tune in because I love the way he
well,
boxes.
I'm a little biased because my brother Sugar, right? My brother Javen trains him, right? But guys, and one thing I'm not supposed to tell you, but I will anyway because it's of no consequence at this point. The only reason why Anthony the Dog Durrell is being featured on the co-main event against a schlub like Marcos Hernandez, right, is in case Caleb Plant gets injured.
Oh,
So you're looking at a potential Yordenis Ugas situation. Remember when he was supposed to fight Marcos Maidana's little brother?
Yeah, Fabian, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was thrust into the main event when EJ got hurt?
Yeah.
That's why they're featuring Anthony Durrell in the co-main event. In
He's playing
case
B.
something
He's playing
happens to
B.
Caleb Plant.
Hey, I love the Dog Durrell though, man, but I know he would get his ass beat by Canelo. But I'd be rooting for him though. I would be rooting for him.
God bless you, brother. Thank you, man. Because once again, I love me some Flint, Michigan, brother. I love me some Anthony the Dog Durrell as well. But that's the only reason why he's being in the co-main event against a no-hoper.
Could you
because
imagine
just in case something happens to Caleb, Canelo Alvarez will have an opponent on November 6th. And I wasn't supposed to say no, he's fighting the following week or the week prior, is it?
Oh yeah, who's Kentucky, right? In that eliminator. Oh,
okay. So just in case, and I'm not supposed to say this, but I'll tell you anyway. In case Caleb Plant gets hurt, Anthony the Dog Durrell would be inserted against Canelo Alvarez. That's it.
Yeah, because you would have to have a big credible name that makes sense. So they insert.
He's a former champion. He's a former WBC champion.
Yeah, that makes sense. The boy that was ending like 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So that's why, guys. That's why you're seeing the pay-per-view undercard the way it is, right?
Dude, they could have put Benavidez' fight as the co-main. That'd have been good. That'd have been nice.
Yeah, it would have. It would have, but I don't think Canelo would have been too happy facing him on like short notice.
Yeah,
I know exactly.
So once again, guys, you heard it here first, right? There it is. The reason why Anthony the Dog Durrell, and you're not going to hear this anywhere else. The reason why he's on the co-main event is in case Caleb Plant gets hurt. He would be thrust in the main event. That's the only reason.
Right.
You know, I mean,
true. Sometimes those undercards be better than the main events.
I know. It'll be gems. It'll be gems.
Well, look, guys, and you never can tell on paper, and this is why I said on paper it's the worst undercard in recent memory because you never can tell. Look at the undercard for Fury versus Wilder 3. We all thought it was going to be great, and it turned out to be a dud. You got a one-sided mismatch in a showcase bout with Jared Anderson against a guy who washed my car last week. And then you had a one-sided mismatch versus Robert Helenius and Adam Kaunaki.
Oh, my
right?
goodness.
And then you had a fight that was reminiscent of watching grass grow between Frank Sanchez and Efe Ajagba, right? So even though those three fights look great on paper, boy, they just didn't deliver. Now,
can I say this right quick?
Go ahead, sir.
F.A., that's what you get for leaving Coach Ronnie.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you, brother. And you guys don't know the story, and unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to say, but yeah, Coach Ronnie was laughing a lot.
I'm sure he was.
Yep.
I'm sure he had a big smirk in his face after that result.
He did. He said, "Serve you right, MF." Yep.
I mean, like I think Mark Breland kind of trolled Deontay Wilder too after he lost. He released a posted on Instagram saying "great fight," then just posted the video of him shadowboxing in the ring.
Yep, working behind the jab.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. That's it, guys.
Talking about, well, at least semi-modern day classics. Freaking Mayweather versus Cotto. I fucking love that fight.
That is a great fight, and I
Oh,
covered
that's a
that
great
live
one.
in Vegas.
Yeah.
What fight?
That's
What
a
fight?
great one. Yeah.
What fight?
Yeah, because Mayweather really showed. He
Mayweather.
stepped.
You know what's amazing about that fight? I remember talking to the late great Emmanuel Stewart. He was on my podcast. Well, before podcasts got popular, right? He was on my show, and I was talking to Emmanuel, and I was saying, Emmanuel, can you believe the odds are this wide? And he said, no. He said, trust me, guys, this is going to be a great fight. In fact, you're going to see Mayweather tested in this fight. And there wasn't any traction leading up to the week of the fight. I showed up in Vegas, and all of a sudden, all of the media showed up, and it just exploded into this great event. And guys, I'll tell you, because Mickey Bay Jr. was one of my former clients in doing publicist work, and he was part of Team Mayweather. He was really tight with Team Mayweather. He told me, he said, Joseph, don't report on this, but Floyd has the flu. Floyd has the flu this week, and he's having to do media events, and he's not well. There was the possibility that he was thinking about canceling this event and postponing it. So he went through with that fight being under the weather with the flu.
Wow.
And he still beat Cotto's ass.
Wow.
So just so you guys know this, right? That's what a badass Floyd Mayweather Jr. used to be. And Floyd doesn't get enough credit for having that dog in him. But I can tell you firsthand, Floyd was a tough son of a bitch.
And let the Pac-Tarts fans tell it. Oh, Mayweather's overrated. He's never this good. He was
man. Look, Floyd.
You know what? Our point is that when he showed his toughness and grit, when he fought Sugar Shane, when he clocked him, with that right, and he almost went down like a sack of
guys. And Floyd doesn't get enough credit for being like, if you just saw him work out in the gym, that is like seeing him spar, like he would still stay in the ring. Okay, next another sparring partner would come in, like he would stay in the ring for 30 minutes and have just sparring partners come in right after each bell, continuously. That guy had so much dog in him. He was a tough MF. Right. And I said, I'm trying not to cuss in this, but he doesn't get enough credit for being as tough as he used to be. Ultimately, that's why he retired. He said, you know what? I just can't put my body through this anymore.
Yeah. Anybody who watched Mayweather over the years knew that. By the time he had fought Berto and all that, this wasn't the same fighter. You know what I'm saying? He was. You could tell he was starting to deteriorate. But that's
years and years and years of wear and tear from those grueling training camps. And this is a guy who would once again get the most of himself in the gym. Like he would, like in these training camps, he would whoop everyone's ass. He had so much dog in him, and he doesn't get enough credit for that.
No. I mean, and knowing what we know about Floyd, like how ruthless he was back when he got started, like in 130, 135, stuff like that. It's kind of just disappointing now to hear him say, oh, we're going to work smarter, not harder. We're just only going to fight in-house when he's talking about Tank.
Yeah, you know what? That's really disappointing, but I can understand why he's saying that.
Yeah. I
can understand. Yeah. From a business perspective, yes. But, man, Floyd didn't have that attitude when he was coming up.
No, that's my point. Exactly.
Floyd was a dog, man. Floyd was a freaking dog.
Yeah.
That was a bad dude, man.
Yeah. Sure was, yeah.
So, guys, with that said, are you excited about Canelo versus Plant?
Yeah, I am.
Well, the main event. Yeah.
I totally am excited for the fight. I love Caleb Plant. I'm rooting for him, but again, in this case, I just think Canelo's going to beat him. But with that being said, I love Plant. He's one of my favorite fighters of today. But I got to bet with my brain, and I got to say that I think Canelo is going to get the win.
Well, let me ask you this before I actually bid everyone an excellent evening, right? In the next 5 minutes, I want to get your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on Canelo Alvarez actually saying that, you know what? I think Caleb Plant might prove to be one of my easier fights. We'll start with Lisa Bells. Miss Lisa Bells, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, of course he's gonna say that. He's looking at him like whatever, easy work. But I think Caleb is gonna come to fight as hard as he can, but I just don't see anyone that prepared him for a fight of this magnitude. And no disrespect to the young gentleman, he just hasn't fought anyone. I mean, the best person he's fought was Jose Uskatoski. He never fought Benavidez. He just hasn't. He doesn't have the pedigree that Canelo has. Canelo is a young vet. I'm just being honest. But anything can happen. This is boxing. There's always a small. There's always a small percentile.
That's why they fight the fights. Yep.
Right. I just don't see it visually.
Yep.
Brother Lenar, what are your final thoughts on this?
I think, and I've been on some boxing channels and been saying the same thing. I think people say that Caleb's going to get knocked out. I think Caleb Plant goes the distance and he makes an account of himself. I really do. I believe in Caleb Plant. I think that he's going to give Canelo some problems, but I just think that Canelo's going to be able to, just beat him up down the stretch. But I think that Caleb can survive it. And I think that, he's going to hang in there as long as he can until about the second half comes or the championship rounds come, and then he's going to start to get beat on. And then he's going to cruise to a decision, basically. So that's what I think. So I got Canelo Alvarez by a UD.
Brother AJ, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, my sentiments are Canelo. We said Caleb's going to be one of his easiest fights.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's just that's just him speaking from the champion elite fighter that he is. Just got that confident talk. But I think he's not going to overlook Caleb. He's going to prepare adequately for him. And I see him stopping probably Plant mid to late. He's just going to probably get into his groove first. He's going to take a few rounds to probably work out Caleb. And eventually Canelo's just going to pounce on him, start to break him down, take the pressure, then he'll take the fight to him, put pressure on him. And I don't think Caleb will probably be able to handle that, not unless he's going to show up and display a side of himself that we haven't seen. But but he's just not on the level Canelo is. He just isn't.
No, I think you guys are all absolutely right, with the exception of him going the distance.
Yeah,
with all due respect, brother Leonard. With all due respect, look. What this fight reminds me of, and I think Canelo is being very earnest when he says this. What this fight reminds me of. Do you remember all the jive trainer Tim Lane and Chris Algieri was talking before they fought Manny Pacquiao?
Mm-hmm.
Saying that, Pacquiao's never seen a guy like Chris Algieri. Oh, he's going to show him some. Okay, that's what this sounds like. Caleb Plant's kind of false bravado and his false sense of confidence.
Well, he knows.
He's going from the wading pool into the ocean, fighting the biggest shark in the ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it's going to resemble Manny Pacquiao versus Chris Algieri, in which he got knocked down 5 times.
Oh my God!
But
the only difference is Chris Algieri saw the final bell. That's the biggest difference. Caleb Plant is not going to see the final bell in this. Canelo Alvarez is going to demolish him after round 6. Once he finds range, it's going to be all over, guys. And this is going to be Caleb Plant basically getting his first big welcome to big-time boxing. Sorry, brother.
Wow.
Yep. Joseph, you remember in the Chris Algieri Pacquiao fight how Max Kellerman was talking to his trainer, talking about he's going to put him in the cage.
That's what I'm saying.
So he's going to knock him out. Then literally 5 seconds, bam, and Algieri goes down.
That's what I'm saying. I covered that fight in Macau, right? I was there, and interviewing Tim Lane, he was like, "Oh, Freddie Roach, Man, they've never seen anything like Chris Algieri, and I was like, are you still living on this planet? This is a guy who's faced Juan Manuel Marquez. This is a guy who's faced Oscar De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto, Ricky Hatton.
He's fought the best of the best, like all the weights.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like Eric Morales? And you're saying he's never seen anything like Chris Algieri? Really? Okay. Yeah, it almost sounds when you hear Caleb Plant talk, and I like his confidence, but it's almost gotten to the point where he's become delusional.
Yeah.
Like, listen to his interviews, guys. He sounds downright delusional. I'm like, are you sure you realize you're fighting Canelo Alvarez?
I mean, he's literally acting like and carrying himself like he's the best super middleweight on the planet.
It's actually quite shocking, guys. That to me is the primary reason why I think Caleb Plant is going to get dusted.
Yeah,
because he's going into this fight sounding like he's not a part of reality.
Well,
and this is why I compare it to Tim Lane and Chris Algieri. Like they were talking like they were going to school Manny Pacquiao. And guys, listen to his interviews. That's the way Caleb Plant talks right now.
It's going to be a great night on November 6th.
What would happen if Shields trained Plant, Joseph?
Let me tell you something. Ronnie Shields would be taking that assignment just for the money. Seriously, like honestly, seriously, like it's all about style matchups and it's all about levels. Look, he's like, even though Ronnie Shields is very positive for each one of his clients, he's not oblivious to reality. He's a very wise man, right?
Yeah.
And so he understands if he gets his assignment with AJ, cross your fingers, he understands what he's up against.
Yeah, yes.
And he understands that he's got a limited amount of time to try and be able to, well, rectify everything that AJ has lost, both mentally and physically, in terms of fundamentals and in terms of confidence. He understands what he's up against. But my point is, if there's anyone who can do it, it's Coach Ronnie Shields. Your final thoughts, Lamar?
Oh yeah. I was gonna say real quick, and because I forgot to bring up this point, and Lisa heard me say this before, but like I never thought that AJ was the most mentally tough person to begin with. I never thought that. Talented, fun fighter, good power, good technique, but I never thought he was the most like he didn't have grit to me like a Marvin Hagler, or grit like a James Toney, or grit like Arturo Gatti. I don't think he's ever had that like that. I just thought, and I've said this before, after I saw what I saw last fight when Usyk, when Usyk beat him, and I saw him put his head down in the corner, like shaking his head, it was embarrassing to me because I thought that, because even though Usyk won, I mean, it was still competitive. I would have been like, I would have had, raising my hand if I was AJ, like, oh no, I won, or at least would have stood up. But when I seen him do that, it was embarrassing for me to see that.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. It's almost like you want to see Anthony Joshua have some more emotion when he loses. Like, you know what? Bang his glove to the canvas saying, you know what? Damn it. I should have won that fight.
Yeah.
Have some more fire, man. Have some more passion. Look at say what you want about Deontay Wilder, right? Say what you want about Deontay, but look at how disappointed he looked when he lost. You know what? It's like most people look at that as a negative, like he didn't want to shake Tyson. But you know what? I love that. I love that, man. That he actually said, you know what? I don't want to shake your hand. You know what? I don't respect you. Get out of my face, dude. I wanted to beat you so bad.
Joseph, and that's
can I say something?
One thing I said about Deontay was, I said the same thing. I said one thing about Deontay, at least with Deontay, he'll go down swinging and he wants to win. He's like, he will go, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, so at least, but with AJ,
and once again, and anyone who listens to this show understands exactly how I feel about Deontay Wilder, right? But it's that passion. You want to see that passion in Anthony Joshua, and you just don't. Lisa Bell.
Even with the Klitschko fight.
Well, hold on, Lennar.
Sorry.
Miss Lisa Bell, it's your floor.
Something. I don't know what make people think he has to be like other people. He got to be who he is.
That is true, but
don't
guess
put
what?
Him in but no, people put fighters in a a cookie cutter. I think maybe that's just a part of his personality.
And
the guy is a beast. He's a beast, and he's a warrior like anyone else.
Okay, you know what? We want to see more fire from our champions. We want to see more competitive fire. We want to see that passion. We want that in, like, once again, I'll say that.
The man has it if he got 22 knockouts.
Okay, well, once again,
can I add something?
It's time.
You can't put the man. You gotta let him be who he is.
You know what? I'll say this. Hold on, AJ. I'll say this. AJ is one of my favorite fighters, right? And most people, I defy anyone to name any of my favorite fighters at this time. Because I take such pride in being objective. More than likely you won't be able to, but I will say this. I love Anthony Joshua in terms of being a great ambassador for the sport, but I want to see more fire in this guy. I want to see more competitive fire. Okay? Right. And he's great, just like Vladimir Klitschko was. He's a great ambassador for the sport, and that's why he has so many fans. But I want to see this guy get up for this fight. Get up for this.
And he showed he can get up when he fought Ruiz for the second fight. But I'm just saying, like you said, Lisa, he is who he is. But what I'm saying is, like, I can't put it, like, and I love Joshua too, but I can't put Joshua with all-time grit like a Marvin Hagler or Roberto Duran or all those greats where they just have, they have grit. I cannot put him up there because even with the Klitschko fight, when he got knocked out, he doesn't have a good poker face. It's like he's like, oh shit, I'm ready to give up. Even though he still fights, he still has some grit. Don't get it twisted. He definitely does. But I just, I don't think he has, like, he doesn't get a 10 out of 10 from me for grit or heart.
Well,
he gets
people always talk about him getting knocked down. What about Fury and Wilder got knocked down just as many times, and they don't get stick for it, but he does. I just think people overly criticize the dude.
No, Wilder got knocked the hell out. Wilder got knocked out swinging.
I tell you what, he wanted to look.
Can I add something?
Just 1 second. Ask and you shall receive. You know what? Wilder wanted to go out on his shield. Guess what?
He did.
He sure did. And you know what? The sport salutes him. Brother AJ, what are your thoughts?
Okay, my thoughts on just this whole topic is, like, I think that, like this, Joseph, you brought up the point that AJ hasn't been the same since the Ruiz defeat. I agree.
Yep.
And the subsequent performances afterwards, I think that, and now coupled with that, I think also, you add to the fact that now he has become what Mikey Garcia has become. He's become more of a businessman and not so much of a fighter. And I'm not saying he never had grit. He always did. All fighters got to have it to an extent. But I just like to say that he needs to get that back. He needs, like, and I'm quoting this from the Rocky 3. He needs to get his eye to Tiger back.
Hell yes, thank you. Excellent.
I get that part.
And I never said.
No. I never said you didn't say it, Leonard. I'm not saying.
I'm not saying.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Hold that thought, guys. Hold that thought. We're gonna go to the chat room. We're gonna go to my brother Dragon Leg, who's still hanging with us. He said, "Nah, Bales, you piss him off. White did it, Miller did it, and Wilder did it. Yes, let's see a pissed off version of Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, he gotta not like you.
You gotta piss him off.
Not like you.
You know what? Yep. Let's see Alexander Usyk get under his skin. Let's do it. Oh, let's see it. Big Luke says Tim Lane should train AJ. Yes.
Tim Lane. Who's Tim Lane?
Chris Jerry's trainer.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
Big ups to my brother Big Luke for the comic relief. I love it. Thank you for hanging with us, Big Luke.
Also, I'd like to add, like, a lot of people are drawing parallels to Lennox Lewis when he got knocked out by Oliver McCall. Like
Yeah.
he didn't rematch McCall right away. When he came back, he was very gun shy. It took several fights for him to get back into the mix before he rematched McCall and won. But then when he gets knocked out by Hasim Bratman, he goes back in a rematch and crushes him in 4.
Yep, and there it is, man. And you've got my brother Emmanuel to thank for that. Yep. God rest your soul. I tell you what, man. There's so many things that we can actually just draw upon when we look at our boxing history, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, AJ needs that fire. He needs that. He needs that competitive fire. And yes, just you know what? As cheesy as it may seem, that's exactly what he needs, brother AJ. He needs the eye of the tiger, man. He needs that competitive fire. He needs to let his balls hang in the ring. He needs to show this man that he is the heavyweight champion and that he's a real heavyweight.
And I'll take it even further. Like in the Usyk fight, right? AJ fought like he was the challenger. Usyk fought like he was the champion.
Yeah,
that's it. Yes,
exactly,
thank you.
Impose
your will. Impose your will on this man. In the immortal words of Apollo Creed, show him that you're more man than him.
No, yes. Exactly. And I'm not saying, and I wasn't trying to say that AJ has no heart. That's not. But there's been times where
I didn't say you. I mean,
Lisa. Same thing with me, Lisa. I'm not slighting AJ. I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing, what he's doing now.
No, yeah, and there's been times where AJ just goes to the fire. He just goes, and there's been other times where he's been shaky. I've just seen both sides. That's all I'm saying.
No,
I'll say this.
I do see both sides, but what I was saying was he gets overly criticized for stuff, whereas other people can get away with it.
Okay,
and I don't think people get what I'm saying.
That's not the case on this show, sister. So, with all due respect,
I don't mean you guys.
I know you don't. I know you don't, sister. But with all due respect, keep everything that you experience on other YouTube channels out of this forum, right? Because you don't get that here. We take great pride in our objectivity, right? Mm-hmm. That's how we're able to call these matchups as clearly as we do. I defy you to go to any other YouTube channel and experience as closely as we call these fights and predict these fights.
Right.
Right.
You know what's funny? AJ's mindset for the Usyk rematch, just right quick. Sorry, Joseph, just right quick. His mindset has to be like, oh, wait a minute. So this Ukrainian guy came into my hometown and took my titles from me in front of my fans?
That's it.
Oh, hell no. You gonna pay for this, bro.
That's it.
You gonna pay for this.
I think some people are passive aggressive.
You that he is the alpha male once again.
You embarrass me like this? Oh no.
Yep.
I ain't letting this.
Some people are passive aggressive people, where they may not show it, and then later on they may go home and just explode.
Yeah. Well, once again, AJ
has it in him.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and because you're right, in the rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. in Saudi Arabia, he showed a little bit of that fire. He was like, you know what? Nope, I'm going to get my titles back. In this fight, he's going to need that. He's going to need that sense of urgency, because if he loses twice to Alexander Usyk, it's going to be catastrophic.
It's going to jeopardize his career
moving forward, guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I tell you what, on that note, guys, we're going to have to bid everyone an excellent evening. Starting clockwise, we're going to go to AJ. Brother AJ, your final thoughts on this evening, sir.
Bless you, Joseph. Bless you, Leonard and Lisa. Appreciate you having me on as always, Joseph.
AJ.
It's been my pleasure, my friend. Brother Lenar, your final thoughts tonight.
I just want to say it's been a pleasure talking with you guys tonight on boxing. It's been a good night. And just our next fight, I think, what is it Shakur Stevens versus Jamel Herring, or is it Canelo versus
nope. It's Herring versus Stevenson this Saturday night on ESPN.
Yep. I hope
can't wait.
Boxing. Yeah, I hope we talk boxing this next big fight and see what happens.
Yeah.
Future.
Can't wait for that.
Thank you, Brother Lenar. Miss Lisa Bells, you have the final word.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joseph. Always an honor and a pleasure. And AJ and Lenar, and always great boxing talk. And I'm looking real forward to Shakur and Herring. And I'm also looking real forward to Bud and Sean Porter and Canelo and Plant.
You know what? Thank you guys for gracing. It's always a pleasure to share the air with all of you guys, and I'm the better for it. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope our listeners enjoyed this. I'll say this is my final thought. 2 Saturdays ago, right, when Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder in their third fight, as much as we love boxing, we got a glimpse, guys, of boxing loving us back for the first time in a very long time. Let's just hope that boxing can love us back once again this Saturday night with Jamil Herring versus Shakur Stevenson. We can all hope. And once again, that's what makes us diehards, because we always have that kind of hope. Guys, thank you so much for listening. You've been tuning in to WAWR Week Radio. On behalf of Miss Lisa Bales, Brother Lennar, and Brother AJ, I'm Joseph Herron. You've been listening to WAWR Week Radio. Have an excellent evening, everybody.
Peace.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead you?
Who'd have thought they'd lead ya?
Back here